My name is Wendy Hansen. I'm a 30-year-old office worker, and currently in the happiest state of my life as I'm about to get married. My life has been filled with sadness until now. Ever since my younger sister, Emma, was born, I've felt lonely. My mother occasionally paid attention to me, but mostly it was all about Emma. Emma was allowed to take various lessons, whereas I was never given such opportunities. I'm graduating from this sad and difficult environment. I'm marrying Robert, whom I've been dating for many years. I didn't like going to my parents' house, but I had to visit for the marriage greeting. When I arrived, Emma was waiting with a smile. I muttered words to myself, but kept a pleasant face and began the greetings. Then, Emma constantly ridiculed him until she found out what he was doing. After that, it was a barrage of questions for Robert. She ignored me and kept asking him questions. I had a bad feeling, but nothing happened. And we were able to have our wedding without issues. I cherished the joy of marrying the man I love, wearing the wedding dress I had dreamed of. As the ceremony progressed and we were about to kiss, a dramatic scene unfolded. Wait a minute. Suddenly, my sister stood up. What now? Sister, how could you do this to me? What's wrong? Everyone, please listen. My sister looks happy, but she stole him from me. We've been together for a long time, but my sister. She's making a happy face after stealing my boyfriend. The child in my stomach is his child. Please give him back to me. Wendy, as a sister, what are you doing? Stealing a boyfriend from your cute sister. The wedding is off. Either that or change the bride. Your father's order is absolute. Sister, please, give him back to me. Emma was crying and clinging to me, and our father kept making appeals. What are you talking about? You. What are you laughing at? Unbelievable. Please give me a break. Robert, you're laughing too? Why are you laughing? Well, that's right. You left pregnant Emma for Wendy, didn't you? That's the worst. Dad, Emma, please give me a break. I can't stop laughing. All this time, you've only been a nuisance to my life. And now you've even come to disrupt my wedding? Sister, that's awful. I'm pregnant. That's why I'm laughing. Because, you know? When I continued speaking, Emma and our father were shocked. We already knew that Emma would disrupt the wedding like this. Why did we know? Because Robert had been telling me everything Emma was doing to him. I've been talking to Robert about my parents and Emma since we were kids. Therefore, Robert was worried about me. That's why whenever Emma took any action, Robert informed me immediately. Since Robert went to greet my parents for our marriage, Emma had been clinging to him non-stop. She became interested in him because he said he was a company president. Robert and I have been together since elementary school, childhood friends. While my parents went out to buy new clothes for Emma or to her lesson recitals, I couldn't understand why I was never taken along and spent my time alone in the park. I knew they always went to eat barbecue after Emma's recitals. So I once asked my father why I couldn't go. He said, "We don't have the money to take you." If that was the case, they should have stopped the 5 different lessons Emma was taking. But I couldn't understand why I, who was born first, was treated so casually. As sad as it was, I thought it was pointless to say anything. So I always played alone in the park when my father and Emma were away. The one who played with me was Robert. Robert didn't have family problems and was raised by wonderful parents. His parents, always worried about me, told their classmate Robert, "Play with her. It's dangerous for a girl to be alone, and he always came to play. I really liked Robert from a young age, and he gradually started to like me too. In middle school, we began dating. What Robert said then was, "At first it was more like playing with a little sister, but gradually I came to like you." Indeed, at first, it was probably out of pity. However, our relationship has continued since middle school. When Emma first encountered Robert and me together in high school, I returned home to hear, "I can't stand to see people happy. But if it's such an unattractive guy, I don't need him." "Sister, you're plain, so he suits you." "Such a boring and plain guy, just right for my sister." "Sister is so dull, no one will ever love you, so he's just right for you." "Have you seen my boyfriend? I just stole him from a classmate, he's the most handsome guy in school." Despite being sisters, the difference in our boyfriends is like heaven and earth. "Sister, you can't compare to me in anything. In studies, sports, number of friends, number of lovers, and even our parents' love." Right. Are we done here? Oh dear. You're sulking because I hit the nail on the head. It was always like this. But I love Robert, and that's enough for me. Indeed, I can't compare to Emma in studies, sports, the number of friends, or past lovers, nor the affection from our parents. But none of that matters. I have a loving partner and friends. While family certainly means blood relations, being connected by blood is all it is. Family isn't the only source of love, nor the only place where I can give love. I might be seen as lonely, but I'm fine with that. I have been with Robert all this time, but during that period, Emma has been dating various men. Every week, a different man would visit our house, which honestly disgusted me. I disliked it so much that I spent a lot of time at Robert's house. His parents are incredibly kind, and being with them was always comfortable. They would say every day, "Marry soon and come live with us." I was truly happy. When I returned home, I would return to a house under Queen Emma's reign. "Emma, what about your driver's license? I can drive when I turn 16, right? If so, I want a car when I turn 16. Then get Wendy to buy it for you. She's starting a job next month, right? Once she gets her first paycheck, she should take out a loan and buy a car." That's a great idea. "Sister, please. That plain boyfriend of yours, his parents seem to have strong connections, right? It wouldn't be bad if they bought you a car under the pretext it's for my sister." Enough already. What do you think I am? But you're the older sister? You are Emma's sister, aren't you? Then act like it. Always a nuisance at home. What are you thinking? Hey. Did I just say I'm always a nuisance? How much of a nuisance have I been? I even paid back my high school tuition with part-time jobs. And my junior college tuition was almost nothing since I entered as a scholarship student. And I paid it with my own part-time job earnings. I even paid for my license with savings, and I plan to buy a car once I start working. Give me a break. I'll be leaving home next week. Do whatever you like. Saying this, I went into my room. Even my room was the attic. As Emma grew and accumulated more stuff, my room became Emma's. And I was relegated to the attic. This life is over for me. Starting next week, I stayed at Robert's parents' house. Once I got a job, Robert and I planned to move to New York. So I decided to stay with them for a while. Since then, I had virtually no contact with my family until the marriage greeting. And I hadn't met Emma or my parents even once. When we finally met for the marriage greeting after a long time, Emma greeted us with a smirk. When she realized my boyfriend was Robert, she burst into laughter. Oh dear. Even that plain guy has improved a bit. But he's not on my level. What a relief. I was worried what I would do if my sister's boyfriend turned out to be high-spec. But I guess I didn't need to worry. Robert is Wendy's boyfriend? He can't be decent. Right. I worried for nothing. She began to mock us. And? What is that plain guy even doing? It'd be great if he was still a freeter at this age. Nice to meet you again, I'm Robert Hansen. I'm currently the president of a venture company in New York. The reason our marriage was delayed was because it took time to get the company off the ground, but now we are finally able to marry. It seems we're not very welcome here, so now that the greetings are done, we'll take our leave. Huh? What? President? What? Wendy's husband is a president? That's right. So, goodbye. We'll send the wedding invitation later, but if you don't come, that's fine too. As Robert and I tried to leave the house, wait. If you're going, go alone. Robert is also becoming family, we'd like to talk to him. No, I have nothing to discuss, so excuse us. Saying this, Robert took my hand and we left the house. It's just as you said. Their eyes changed the moment you said president. That's embarrassing. Sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. It's okay. Wendy, you did nothing wrong. Thank you. Saying this, we returned to our normal life, but a change occurred the next day. Emma went out of her way to come to New York and started hitting on Robert. She searched for his name online, found his company, and tried to get involved. However, Robert isn't the type to be swayed by such things. Whether she disliked that or was fueled because he was unattainable, in the end, she tried to get a job at Robert's company by interviewing, but of course, she was rejected. I thought she would give up after this, but to my surprise, she started a relationship with one of the company's managers. Then she would ask about Robert's drinking parties from the manager, and tried to show up pretending to be there coincidentally. Or even tried to force her way into a taxi Robert was taking. She kept taking the worst actions. Knowing she had been acting this way, I could laugh when she made such assertions at the wedding. And there was another reason why we were laughing. It was because Robert cannot have children. We found out Robert was infertile when we both underwent a bridal check before. The reason my marriage was delayed wasn't only because of the time it took to stabilize his company, but also because Robert was resisting, thinking I might want children. In fact, we were already engaged when I started working. And Robert was launching his business. We were supposed to get married immediately. But unexpected issues extended our engagement to nearly 10 years. During that time, Robert and I had faced many conflicts. I can't have a family. You can have children, but you can't build a happy family with me. That's why you shouldn't marry me. Why would you say that? I've never known a happy family before. I wasn't even loved by my parents, so what does a happy family mean? Moreover, I don't even know if I can love my own children. I just don't know how to love. But I was certainly happy receiving love from you and your parents. However, I honestly don't know how cute my own children would be. I just don't know. But it's okay. I love you. So, let's not talk about children anymore. For now, just focus on getting the company on track, and once it's settled, marry me. If you hate me and never want to deal with me again, that's fine. But if you feel even a little upset seeing me walking with another man, you must still love me, right? Is it okay? If you leave me, I will appear before you walking with another man I don't know. I hate that. Are you really okay with that? Of course. Please, let's stay together, so Robert cannot have children. I didn't want to say this in front of everyone as it might hurt Robert, but he made it clear. I can't have children. So, it's impossible that you have my child. I am infertile. There was a moment of silence in the venue after Robert's confession. However, gradually, applause broke out. It must have been a round of applause moved by his courageous confession. Emma's face was contorted, and all eyes in the venue were directed at her with not a gentle expression. Everyone was looking at her coldly. Come on. She started it. Let's listen carefully. Whose child is it, and why did she disrupt our happiest day? Can we get an answer? It was the first time I saw Robert looking so intimidating. Even though we have been together since elementary school. Whose child is it? You need to tell us clearly. Could it be that you don't even know whose child it is? Because you've been involved with someone from our company? As Robert pressed her, Emma's face grew more and more contorted. Then, a manager from Robert's company who was sitting in the middle of the venue stood up. Didn't you tell me before that you were pregnant with my child? And took money from me to get an abortion? How did it become Robert's child? Explain that. Following this, voices rose from the venue one after another. I also gave her $1,000, me too. As Robert said, Emma had been involved with many people from his company. It was truly chaotic. What kind of wedding is this? I don't know if the father ever thought such a thing would happen. Or really believed it was Robert's child, but he just stood there stunned. However, suddenly, he began yelling. If someone in the company got my daughter pregnant, you as the president should take responsibility. You should just marry Emma quickly. Come on, Wendy. You are her sister, right? Give up your place to her. I was so appalled I was on the verge of tears. Then, it wasn't Robert who shouted but my mother. Enough. Aren't you ashamed? Mom? I'm truly embarrassed. Wendy, I'm really sorry. I made a mistake raising Emma. I'm really sorry. When I was a child, I always felt neglected because my parents spent all their time on my older sister, and I thought if I ever had siblings, I wouldn't want them to feel that way. So I talked with your father about treating my sister equally. But maybe out of my own unfortunate experiences, I ended up prioritizing Emma for lessons and shopping. It's all my fault. I'm truly sorry. Emma. You need to apologize properly for this. Really, stop it now. My mother was confessing to me. Honestly, with everything that had happened, even when my mother said this, I couldn't just say, Mom, it's okay. Thank you. However, instead of reflecting after being scolded by our mother, Emma said, yes, it's Mom's fault. So, it's not my fault. Robert? Shall we have our vow kiss? It will all be settled then. Once we take our vows, I win. Saying this, Emma approached Robert. However, Robert refused. When she pushed a little, Emma stumbled and fell. Nonetheless, undeterred, she approached Robert again. Wait, Emma, weren't you pregnant? Pregnant? Because normally, if you were, wouldn't you panic after falling? Oh. Emma looked awkward. You, perhaps. Yes. Yes, exactly. I was never pregnant. I just thought if I said I was pregnant, people panicked and started giving me money because I didn't have any. everyone just throws money without thinking. It's really stupid, right? People can't take responsibility for their actions. I just took money from those who have it because what I got from Dad wasn't enough. I did nothing wrong, and those who gave me money are just stupid. The thing is, I just hate my sister. Despite always being favored, she was loved by more people at school than I was. I had many friends, but they didn't really like me. They were just after the guys around me. Any man I dated and broke up with would immediately start dating my friends. And some of them even got married. They seemed bored from the moment they started dating me. But they looked happy dating my friends. And if I ever took a guy from a friend, everyone would abandon me. It was just because those men were stupid to follow me. Everyone is just using me. Yet my sister gets to go out with her close friends, and Robert is always all about her. Even Robert's family values her. What is that about? And, Mom always said she cared about me. But she was always going on about buying something for my sister. I did have my parents spend money on me. But I never felt loved. They think spending money is love. But what I really wanted was to be praised no matter what. It was never about praise for me, just rewards like barbecues, toys, or clothes. Mom would praise my sister when she scored well on tests. But when I did well, Dad would just say, "Emma got good grades. We'll have to reward her after her lessons are done," and I never got praised. It's always about my sister. No one really cares about me. Robert just likes pitiful people, right? You see? I'm really pitiful, right? Why don't you switch to me? Don't be ridiculous. Sure, it's sad not to be praised, but what you've done is truly despicable. Always trying to one-up Wendy. And even disrupting such an important ceremony like this. I really hate people like you. And you seem to have hurt quite a few employees at the company. In my company, I only have capable and trustworthy staff. I don't usually give directives about personal lives. But to think that so many were deceived by someone like you is truly a terrible situation. This ceremony cannot go on. It will be postponed. And that will incur costs. You will be billed for those expenses. And I will also seek reimbursement for the money you defrauded from my employees. Unless you refund everything, I can file a police report. What you do next will greatly affect your future. What is that? Despite liking pitiful women, why am I not good enough? Wendy is not pitiful at all. My love for Wendy isn't out of pity. Wendy is always cheerful. She talks about what happens, but she never speaks ill of you or your parents. Plus, she always has dreams and works hard towards them. I found that very attractive. When I was starting up the company and it was tough, Wendy was also going through hard times. But she supported me. And Wendy didn't tell you, but she is now running a company too. Ever since we were in middle school, Wendy talked about starting a business. We talked about our dreams together. That was really fun. Wendy has channeled all her anger towards you into her dreams. And made significant strides. The way she can turn her negative feelings into energy so beautifully is truly amazing. Wendy and you are entirely different. You always blame others. But Wendy doesn't blame anyone. There's nothing to blame her for. Unfortunately, I can never forgive you. I will always love only Wendy. I've only lived for 30 years. But in that short life, I have loved Wendy for 20 years. I am confident that I will continue to love only Wendy forever. With that, Robert kissed me. The priest, who was surprised by what was happening, smiled and said, "I guess that's a vow." I'm not sure if this is okay, but for now, our ceremony is concluded. Robert's colleagues were angry with Emma, and my associates were giving her cold looks. I informed everyone to leave the venue and announced that we would hold a party on another day. Robert, my parents, Emma, and Robert's parents also joined the discussion. And we all decided that all the expenses from this incident would be charged to Emma. Although she complained, what awaited Emma was a lawsuit from the employees of Robert's company. She had already spent all the money and claimed she had none left, then ran away. Her miserable escape was such that no one bothered to chase after her. Weeks passed without any word from Emma. However, she eventually appeared before me. "Sister, you're really the worst. Emma, everyone was worried about you." "Worried? Just about whether they could get their money back? What do you mean?" "Never mind. I'm now in debt hell. And sister, you have Robert's money and your own from starting a business. Don't you think that's unfair?" "So, I've been thinking. You're just too happy, aren't you, sister? So, I need to make you unhappy. What are you planning to do? You only have Robert, right? Then I should just take Robert from you." "Robert won't be going to you." "I know that. But what if I became a criminal? His company would end, he would disappear from your life. And it might even affect your company. What are you planning to do?" "I'll throw myself in front of the car Robert is driving. I don't care what happens to me, I can handle that much." "What are you saying? Are you okay?" "I'm not okay. How am I supposed to live with no money? If it hurts you and Robert, that's fine by me." "Is that so? Well, let me tell you something. Robert never drives himself, he has a chauffeur. And since I use trains, I don't ride in cars much. So your plan might not work as you think. Unfortunately, whatever you try to do is meaningless. Also, this lifestyle ends tomorrow. We had our wedding in the US, and now we're moving abroad. Robert has delegated his company to other staff members in the US. And we're moving to France to start a new company. The business we talked about starting? It's something Robert and I are doing together. We've always wanted to work in France. So, our dream is coming true. I know what you want to do to us, but we're no longer paying attention to you. I don't know what will happen to you, but as an adult, you should take responsibility for your actions." With that, Emma crumbled. I passed by her and entered the company. As Emma had said, she fell into debt hell. Several of Robert's company's employees sued her. And she tried to ask our father for help, but our mother refused. Emma was disowned and left the house. She tried to find work, but nothing went well, and she eventually turned to nightlife jobs. However, due to her selfish nature, she couldn't build good relationships with clients and was fired from several places. Eventually, with no money, she considered robbing a bank. "I'm Emma. Give me the money," she declared without a weapon, just barging into the bank, which led to her immediate arrest. Our parents didn't come to her rescue this time. Due to the stupidity of the robbery, it made the news. And Emma was quickly released, but likely won't be able to live in the US anymore. However, with no money, Emma is now working in a factory. She never paid us back for the wedding. But she's suffering more than enough, so it doesn't matter. I don't know what kind of life she will have from now on, but it's unlikely to be a good one. Robert and I are still happily living together. Life abroad was unfamiliar, but life with Robert has been happy. We'll continue to live together, aiming for our dreams. I'm sure that together, Robert and I can achieve our dreams in France. I truly believe that from the bottom of my heart.